Hello everybody. Eddie loves ice skating here. Olympics were peak obviously, but even better than that is Medalist Season 2! Now first off, I'm joking. That is a very subjective statement. I like them both quite a bit actually. And I'm just gonna say it outright. Medalist is one of my favorite anime right now, and probably ever. Not just within the realm of sports anime, but in anime in general. If you aren't watching this, get off of your ass, or get on your ass, get on a couch, and watch it. I love it so much, man. It really made me care about ice skating as a sport in a way that Yuri on Ice never did. Sorry, Yuri on Ice. I only watched you because you're gay, not because of the skating. And Medalist is full of a bunch of wonderful aspects that we will touch on here today. But before that, you better touch that subscribe button. That sounds worrying. Touch has such a negative connotation thanks to the internet. Please subscribe, or just wait to the end of the video. I'll try to earn your subscription. I'll say the tough line. But yeah, a lot to talk about. Season 1 was already peak, so this was definitely one of my most anticipated shows going into it. Even if you go back to my winter 2026 anime coming up thing, I couldn't say enough good stuff about it. The adaptation is continued to be done by Engi, E-N-G-I. I don't know how to pronounce it. That's not something I learned in grade school. But let me start out by saying CGI in season 1 was already pretty good. The adaptation as a whole was pretty good, but I want to talk about the CGI for a second. It was obvious CGI, but it still relayed the body emotion that it needed to, especially in a series with performances that need said movements. And even though I use the word like obvious, it's like it's still blended well with the 2D. But season 2 somehow improves on this already good CGI. It low-key has idol anime level CGI on its skating sequences. Because if you watch something like Love Live, you know, and I know, I'm gonna shout out Love Live whenever I can, that they got the CGI game down. The idol shit. Idol shit knows it's CGI. But more on the performances later. We're just gonna get right into the nitty gritty of the story and everything. One thing I wanted to mention that I found nuts about this season to start off was that they only showed one competition. Not complaining, by the way, quite the opposite. I get it. It's only 9 episodes for the season. I just thought it was a fun sentence to throw out there because it sounds kind of crazy at first listen. But for it to have one competition and still be as good of a season as it is, because the series relies so heavily on its characters' journeys and doesn't have to rely on the hype of matchups, shows a lot about its quality and its goals as a series. Let's remember, guys, before this being a story about Inori versus Hikaru or Tsukasa versus Jun's ideologies, it was a story about a young girl proving it's never too late to chase your dreams. And that sentiment resonates through multiple characters, even if it's not the exact same struggle they're facing. It always boils down to that theme of overcoming the odds, the value of your own self-worth, and just the overall passion and growth within one's skating. Every character has it, and it makes them all so easy to root for. Even Hikaru, who I know is supposed to be the one to beat, but she's my favorite character in the whole goddamn series. I don't know if it's because like we both got the black hair, black vibe thing going on. I don't even have black hair. I found this out when I first started growing out my hair. Tangent for a second. When I was growing up, this isn't even my script. When I was growing up, I had short buzzed hair. I'll show you a picture on the screen. And I was like, oh, I got black hair. Obvious, right? Started growing out my hair. I was like, wait a minute. Them ends looking a little brown there. Looking a little brown. I was heartbroken, dude. Every anime protagonist I looked to growing up, Ash, Goku, not Naruto, Sasuke, they all had black hair. I thought I was one of them, but I fucking wasn't. Nah. That aside, Hikaru is my favorite character of this series, as I mentioned, and I think that boils down to her having this mystique about her. As a living legend, we know of her, we have met her, but we don't truly know her. We got more glimpses in season 2 than ever, but it only added to the mystery, and I'm so excited to see some more of her own thoughts coming from her, because like those interactions with Inori are like the few moments where we get anything from her and it's like, I want more, and then they take it away so quick. And I've always just liked that despite being the best skater, the cream of the crop, she's always been extremely nice. Even when Inori wasn't a big dog yet and she was just starting to skate, she wasn't just an asshole like, you never, she wasn't Jude basically, but yeah, she wasn't like, you get a lot of these anime where the protagonist meets the big dog, and then they gotta prove their worth before they'll even talk to them. But no, Inori technically didn't have to prove anything, but she still believed in her anyways. So she's my favorite, absolute GOAT. But I love basically every character in the series, so don't take that as like talk down to anyone else, especially Inori, who's goated, and I have to talk about a bit. She's the main protagonist. She's goated now. Problems still continue from season 1, like those self-doubts and comparisons to others and stuff, but she is very much coming into her own. Season 1 started that journey of confidence, and yeah, the journey's still going. This isn't beyond Journey's End. She is now a legitimate contender, one to look out for, one that coaches talk about amongst themselves, not just a who is that girl. And her main performance this season, I literally rewatch it so fucking much. Oh my god. Her growth skating wise is really nice this season. It was already kind of sped the fuck up towards the end of season 1 anyways, but I don't mind that for the sake of pace and for the general sake of the story. It makes sense why she's progressing how she is, you know? And that continues into this season. I'm glad they still do make the effort to explain the skating behind it and the techniques, the processes behind learning. It's not just oh, she can do this now. Because towards the end of season 1, when she was improving quite fast, and there was like a skip in time, if I remember correctly, I was kind of scared that's how it would be for the rest of the series. But no, they still make a point to really nail down, like, this is what we're working on for this upcoming tournament. And while I don't know a lot about skating, hell, I know it through Medalist, and then I watched the Winter Olympics, and now I like it, but still can't claim to be, you know, anywhere not as knowledgeable as anyone else. But everything in the show leads me to believe that Inori is impressive as fuck, so I'm hyped to see her next performance. And of course, next I gotta talk about Coach Tsukasa. Not only do him and Inori have the best student-teacher dynamic ever, but his character slaps too. Obviously, mirroring Inori's, we know this, but seeing things from his point of view, an adult, someone who doesn't have the same amount of childish optimism in the tank as his student, we really see things in another light in his scenes, especially because he is the flip side of what could have happened to Inori, I guess. There's some more nuance within that, but you know what I mean. Like, he's had a similar journey, things ended how they did, but, you know, he's doing what he's doing now. But we're not getting into that right now. And I've always loved Tsukasa because his unyielding, unparalleled belief in his student, the fact that Inori's belief in herself rubbed off on him so much to where he's like, I'm making you a fucking medalist. No one can do anything about it. I just love that commitment. Like, the rest of the world is like, you're crazy. This random girl, she hasn't even, bro, she's already in 5th grade. She hasn't even started skating yet. I don't care. Medalist. That's a medalist right there. I love the commitment. That's more season 1 stuff, as I mentioned, but I never reviewed season 1, so it doesn't hurt to talk about. But overall, he is a good anchor for Inori in this season as well, and he has a lot of personal scenes that I like, which leads me to my next point. Not only do we meet some new skaters, the series also fleshes out skaters we have only gotten a glimpse of in season 1, and that's all nice, that's all fine and dandy, meeting new characters, I love that. But even more than meeting all the new skaters, my favorite thing from the season that I feel we didn't have really any of in season 1, at least not to this degree, which is obviously because it wasn't the focus. They were still building the groundwork for a series which involved particular characters, and you're not going to use certain characters, but at this point you have some breathing room before what I assume is going to be a nuts fucking arc after this. We had a lot of scenes with just the adults, and their interactions are really complex. Not to say the kids aren't, but they definitely wear their hearts in their sleeves more, as kids do. Yes, this series actually has kids act like kids. I like these scenes so much. I'm even starting to second guess what I know about June a bit off of the beautiful episode where they're at the skate rink at night. I'm not trying to spoil much in this review. I'm keeping it vague, but if you're here, you probably saw season 1 at least. Hopefully you see season 2 if you're already this far, but whatever. And also there was a scene where like all the coaches were vibing together without the skaters. That was nice, letting them be their own characters. Even when their student isn't there, they don't have to be, you know, conjoined at the hip or whatever the term is. And we also met some new skaters, some that are in older bracket than Inori that were pretty interesting. Because yeah, in sports anime, it's always like you just see the 1 year or this group of years. But I find it kind of nice that they're attempting to show like not just her age. They also got adults. They also got this, that. Like, they are really building a world here, not just focusing on a normal series. Which yes, it's because it's in high school most likely, but it's always like just high school, which is fine for those series, but I'm liking how this series is approaching it. And one cool, fun thing I wanted to mention, specifically about the character of Monica Roba. She performs in the main competition to a track sung in English. A super poppy, fun track. Awesome performance as well. The song she dances to, or performs to, or both, it's a dance skating thing, is sung by her English dub voice actor, which is fucking nuts. I don't know if you guys know how, like, crazy that is. I know people don't value dubs in this shithole community, and while I don't watch them very often myself, I can recognize when they are good. I can also recognize how hard they work on them and how talented these voice actors are, and I can applaud when cool shit like this happens. This is low-key, scratch that, high-key a character track in Medalist sung by the character. That is so awesome. I'm inclined to check out the dub now just to see it all tied together. Get to see your character voice while not dancing and singing, and then get to hear that same voice as the singing. I think that would just hit pretty hard. As well as the fact that I've never seen Medalist's dub. You guys like it? From what I've heard, it's pretty good. I know people that have seen it. But I also know Hulu's releasing it weird in the US, so that kind of leads to the point of why I don't watch dubs often, because you never fucking know when you're going to get them. Also, while I'm talking about it, quick shout out to the Japanese cast. Like I said, I haven't seen any other languages, but the performances really slap here. The dialogue really shines because it's just kind of the same thing as the rest of the series. They do really well at painting these characters as people. Yes, it's they picked the right cast. I don't know. I'm not a voice acting expert, but I go off of feelings and emotion, and it felt good. Or should I say it sounded good? There was no feeling here. It was my ears. But speaking of performances, I already touched on 2 that moved me, but I must mention that all of them went crazy. You really get to know everyone through their tracks, and the personality exuding from them is nuts. How they fight through mess-ups, what they're going to try to get points, what songs they dance to. I also forgot to mention, but I said I would bring it back up along with like the animation. In the performances, the camera work, when they are skating, the angles they choose, it's really dynamic. It gives you that edge of your seat feeling that sports should give you when the whole sequence comes together. It feels like watching sports. And a lot of sports anime are really good at this. I don't normally watch a sports anime and go like, okay, they didn't portray what they wanted to, but there's something special about Medalist, and that's just how I feel about the series as a whole, not just this. Like, there's always little like glimpses of like extra within Medalist that make you gotta love it more. It just sucks because once again you want every character to win, but only one can. I feel bad for everybody, especially because they aren't just treated as fodder. Like, yeah, it did kind of read like Inori was always gonna win that competition, at least for me it did when I was watching it, but they were all still worthy, legitimate threats in that tournament, and maybe in the future. The series isn't over yet. So even though I felt like Inori had it in the bag, she still had to come through with a crazy-ass, perfect performance, basically, because of how good everyone else's were. They really proved themselves, and even if I felt like Inori was always meant to win, they gave her a narrative and psychological push to reach for that next level, to be kind of like, okay, I desperate might not be the right word, but it was like, okay, I cannot mess this up. I have to go even farther beyond type shit. And even though I did touch on the series split story-wise in Season 2, I'm going to mention it again. After the storm of the big competition this season settles down and we're looking towards the future, the second half of Season 2 does a great job focusing on the psychological pressures for our characters, the build-up for the next story arc, and even more on the actual sport being explained, or at least points and moves in like certain types of trainings that I would have never heard of as a non-skater. And I liked it. I don't know how people that A, are not manga fans, and B, like just watch the anime like me, have thought about it, because if you're a manga fan, you're going to view the pacing different, I feel, of a series than a first-time anime watcher within the anime. I don't know. At least I do. I don't know. When I watch something for the first time as an anime as opposed to as an adaptation, I always look at it a little different. But I thought it was good. It was definitely slower, but slow doesn't have to mean bad. It's chill. We still got high stakes, but they aren't fully being confronted yet. Like, we're building up to it. And that's cool for now. And I think it was a really successful way to end off the season. And small little note, because I sprinkled in some yap about it earlier, but this OST slaps. No, not just the vocal tracks, which are great, by the way. We got a new opening, and while it's no Kenshi Yonezu peakest of peak of all peaks, it's still a really fun one. Coming from Hana, the song Cold Night is a more fun, chanting theme for the girls, you know, with a idol-like dancing sequence at the end for the visuals. Just a really good one that showcases a different vibe, a different side of the Medalist opening sphere, teasing the world building and all the new characters we've met as the cast of characters is rapidly growing, as we mentioned. The ending theme being the song Rookies from Cotton Candy. It's a really neat sequel to the first season's ending, being a fun little tune, showing some characters. I don't think it has the worm from the first one, which is really funny. Yeah, I just realized that this season doesn't show the worm, unless I'm forgetting. Damn, no, rating this a 0 out of 10 then. What the fuck? I'm kidding. But also, during the yap sessions and the normal anime slice of life moments, like everything that's not an opening or ending, or a performance, I guess, is also pretty well done. Yuki Hayashi, who's known in the industry for making bangers, was responsible for the soundtrack here before us. I mean, hey, I know people like to shit on My Hero Academia, but this soundtrack, even if it's not your vibe, your speed, your tempo, It's undeniably good at turning the series' message and themes into sound. Not even vocally, just overall mood and intensity. Those are iconic soundtracks. You've all heard something from that soundtrack. And even if Medalist OST moments aren't as comparable to that, they're more subtle than other series, it does shine as part of the overall product, especially during tense scenes. And don't even get me started on like the performance scenes, like I mentioned, which are mostly like full-on songs, but can still be cleverly used in the storytelling, and where they slow the song down, and or where they pause it, and when you hear the skates glide and stuff, which is also just part of the editing as well. But I don't know, huge W overall with how they use the audio to combine with the visual. I'm so excited when I talk about Medalist, guys. It's leaking out. And yeah, I thought that the OST had to be brought up. It's so good. Now, for the future, I'm definitely starting this manga today, right now. I was gonna start it the other day after finishing the last episode, but I thought let me at least do the review first. So expect that soon. I told myself before the season started, I think even in my Winter 2056 anime video, I was like, I really want to read the manga, but the season's only gonna be 9 episodes. I can wait 9 weeks, but I can't wait for the movie. So I'm reading this shit. I have to. Even though I love the anime, I think it's the best adaptation a manga fan could ask for. Like, it's one of those, like, just really good, solid overall adaptations. I would assume it's above and beyond, but I haven't read the manga, so I can't compare. But at the very least, I can recognize that it is good, and that manga fans probably think it's good as well. Kind of guessing, but, you know. The manga does look insane, though. Really nice art. I love the detail in it, and it has more story that I can read. Yee-hee-hee. I also found out that there's a light novel, which also has pretty nice cover art as well, but obviously it's a novel, not a manga. And let's be real, that's never getting a translation. But if it does, your boy's gonna read it. I'll take all the Medalist I can get. Waiter, another Medalist story, please. What is that? Movie alert! Movie alert! Yes, originally season 2 was gonna have 12 episodes, or I'm lying. I'm going straight off of the dome here. That's what I remember. It could have been 13, it could have been 11, I don't know. Originally there was gonna be more episodes. Then it got cut to 9 and a movie, which were both announced before season 2 started, so that initially had me worried about the quality of season 2 and the movie alike. But then season 2 came out, and as we all know, it's pretty fucking great. So if waiting was the sacrifice we needed for that next arc after season 2, or what would have been the last few episodes of season 2, to be done to the best of their ability, I will take it, because I assume that the next arc is going to be nuts. And now that it's broken up into 2 parts, they had more time to work on everything. Didn't feel as rushed. Season 2 came out nicely, and maybe they'll have extra time to clean up the movie version, so maybe it'll be a little bit better. Because, you know, movies. And even if this movie will read more like 3 episodes of an anime or whatever in terms of quality, maybe it'll have them slight touch-ups. I don't know how the process works for this anime episodes turned movie thing. I don't know how far they were into it. I do not know how this movie is going to turn out as a movie, because it is a weird conundrum, right? Where they so close to season 2 coming out, and they're like, we're doing a movie instead. So I don't know if they'd started working on it or what, or if it's from scratch as a movie or what. I don't know. I don't really care, as long as we get more Medalist. I don't know if they gave a date for the movie, but whenever it comes out, I will be peeping. But by then, I've already read the manga. But yeah, all in all, Medalist Season 2 is peak. It continues an already amazing story and leads it to a potentially peak movie, and I'm just happy that it exists. That's all from me, though. What did you think of Medalist Season 2? Was it peak? Was it shit? Did you also rewatch Inori's performance 23,006,500,482 times? No? Just me? You better take that back. We are all watching Yuitsuka Inori in this household. Till the movie comes out, then we will all be rooting for Kamisaki Hikaru. I speak for all of us. Especially you watching, viewer. Okay, that's all from me. Subscribe if you're new. Please. Also like, please. And goodbye. Peace.